Who really owns America's farmland? Nearly 45 million U.S. farmland acres are foreign-owned. From Maine to New Mexico, shell companies and hidden investors control our soil. This report exposes who owns America's farms and how you can fight back for food freedom. What's in this article? The silent takeover of American farmland. Where is the most foreign-owned farmland located in the U.S.? The trend line is clear. Foreign control of U.S. farmland is accelerating. Who owns America's farmland in 2025? China's footprint, small percentage, strategic threat. How hidden shell companies are buying up U.S. farmland. Why food freedom matters more than ever. The silent takeover of American farmland. A few years ago, a Chinese company quietly tried to buy farmland in Grand Forks, North Dakota, just a few miles from a U.S. Air Force base. Locals thought it was just a corn mill deal. But when national security officials looked closer, they saw something else, a potential foothold for surveillance right next to military operations. That deal was stopped. But it sparked a bigger question. How much of our farmland is already in foreign hands? According to the U.S. Department of Agriculture's 2023 report, foreign investors now hold nearly 45 million acres of American agricultural land. That represents about 3.5% of all privately held agricultural land in the U.S. It's not just an investment anymore, it's infiltration. Foreign powers, corporations, and shell companies are quietly buying the soil beneath our feet, and with it, control over our food, our energy, and our security. In this post, we'll break down who owns America's farmland and why it matters for our independence, and what we can do to take our food freedom back. Where is the most foreign-owned farmland located in the U.S.? The official data on foreign-held farmland comes from the USDA Farm Service Agency under the Agricultural Foreign Investment Disclosure Act, AFIDA. The most recent report available, AFIDA year 2023, was released in December 2024. The USDA report shows that in total, foreign investors hold nearly 45 million acres of U.S. agricultural land. Here's the breakdown of the top 5 states by foreign-held acreage. Texas has the largest amount of foreign-held U.S. agricultural land with over 5.6 million acres. Maine, around 3.5 million acres. Colorado, about 2.5 million acres. Alabama, around 2.17 million acres. New Mexico, approximately 1.66 million acres. Per the USDA AFIDA 2023 report, states showing the largest increase in foreign-held agricultural acres in 2023 were New Mexico, with an increase of over 358,000 acres, Texas with an increase of over 219,000 acres, and Arkansas with the increase of over 178,000 acres. 50% of the overall increase in acreage between 2022 and 2023 is attributed to these 3 states. In total, foreign ownership increased by more than 1.5 million acres in just 1 year, the largest annual jump since tracking began. According to the data in the Grassley-Baldwin Farmland Security Act of 2025, this amount is an 85% jump since 2010. The trend line is clear. Foreign control of U.S. farmland is accelerating. Who owns America's farmland in 2025? According to the USDA AFIDA 2023 report, the largest foreign owner by far is in Canada, with over 15 million acres, roughly 1/3 of all foreign-held farmland. Other top foreign owners include the Netherlands, about 5.2 million acres, it's 11%. Italy, roughly 2.7 million acres, 6%. United Kingdom, approximately 2.6 million acres, 6%, and Germany, around 2.5 million acres, which is 5%. Together, these 5 countries control more than 60% of all foreign-held U.S. agricultural land. The remaining 38%, about 17.4 million acres, is held by investors from a wide range of other countries, including China, Saudi Arabia, the Cayman Islands, and Luxembourg. China's footprint, small percentage, strategic threat. Although China's total withholdings are relatively small compared to other nations, they have drawn disproportionate attention because of where that land is located. As of December 31st, 2023, USDA report, Chinese investors owned 277,336 acres of U.S. agricultural land, less than 1% of all foreign-held farmland. Most of those acres are concentrated in Texas, 123,708 acres, North Carolina 44,263, Missouri 42,905, Utah 33,035, and Florida 12,798. While China's footprint is modest in size, national security officials have warned that even small acquisitions can pose risks when they are near critical sites. A 2025 CBS News investigation reported that China's farmland purchased near U.S. military bases can pose an enormous problem. Really? Giving potential adversaries access to sensitive facilities and communications. The concern is reinforced by the Grassley-Baldwin Farmland Security Act of 2025, which cited foreign land purchases as a growing threat to both food security and national security. Foreign-held farmland is limited to China or America's strategic rivals. Investors from close allies like Canada and European Union nations own millions of acres, primarily for forestry, renewable energy products, and large-scale agricultural leases. The hidden shell companies are buying up U.S. farmland. The true threat of foreign ownership is often hidden in plain sight. While the USDA AFIDA report provides clear numbers on which countries own the most land, the mechanism of the purchase is frequently obscured by layers of corporate structure. According to the U.S. Department of Agriculture's 2023 AFIDA report, not every acre of foreign-owned farmland can be traced back to a specific country. In fact, a number of filings list no predominant country of ownership, a bureaucratic way of saying it's unclear who really controls the land. This is the hidden hand behind the land grab. Under U.S. law, foreign investors can legally buy farmland through subsidiaries of U.S.-based companies that have foreign ownership or control. The USDA's 2023 AFIDA report notes that some holdings are reported under complex ownership structures or indirect interests, making it harder to identify who ultimately controls the land. Some filings even list no predominant country when land is owned by multiple foreign investors or organizations that don't clearly disclose their structure. In other words, not every foreign purchase can be traced back to a single nation. Countries like the Cayman Islands and Luxembourg, both listed in the AFIDA data, show how international holding companies can quietly buy an American farmland without revealing the true source of capital. This growing ambiguity has caught Congress's attention. The Grassley-Baldwin Farmland Security Act of 2025 directly targets these hidden hands in the market. The bipartisan bill requires the USDA to conduct an annual compliance audit of at least 10% of reported foreign holdings, mandates investigations into shell corporations purchasing U.S. agricultural land, increased penalties for non-reporting or false filings, up to 100% of the land's value for companies that hide their ownership, funds new research into foreign participation in U.S. food production and agricultural capacity. Senator Chuck Grassley summarized the concern bluntly. Foreign purchases of American farmland needlessly increase competition for young and beginning farmers and potentially threaten our national security. Shell corporations who fail to report or misreport their acreage will face higher penalties. In other words, you might not see the flag, but the power is foreign. Every hidden acre is a potential blind spot in America's food chain, and the less we know about who's behind these purchases, the greater risk to our independence. Why food freedom matters more than ever. When foreign governments and corporations control the land that feeds us, they don't just own the soil, they hold the leverage over our future. That's why food freedom isn't just a talking point, it's survival. We've seen what happens when the global supply chain wobbles. Grocery store shelves empty, prices skyrocket, and the smallest disruption ripples through every kitchen in America. Add foreign control of foreign land to that equation and our dependence deepens. If we can't produce, store, and source our own food, we're no longer self-sufficient, we're vulnerable. But here's the good news. You don't need a farm to protect your family's food independence. You just need a plan. Build a pantry with emergency food that can feed your household for weeks or months without relying on deliveries or the grid. And don't stop there. Grow something. Start with heirloom seeds, the kind that you can plant, harvest, and replant again. Our non-GMO Heirloom Seed Vaults give the ability to produce your own food season after season, independence of grocery chains and foreign imports. Each can of food you store, each seed you plant is a vote for American self-reliance, and a step away from dependency on foreign powers that don't share our values. Remember, friends, food freedom is national freedom in liberty. Please make sure you like, subscribe, and comment below that you enjoyed it and maybe some tips. And thank you for listening in today, guys.